Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I am glad you made it. Wanted to thank everybody for making it. And for those of you that are not here yet, well, you'll be here soon. So glad to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Where you're at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon or p.m. on Eastern time and 1 over there on the West Coast. All right. So I wanted to talk today specifically about kind of skipping over all of this news that we've been hearing, and it's been a lot of bad news. I've been trying to sprinkle in some good news stuff that I can find, but there's been a lot of not so great things going on. And I believe personally that right now is our personally golden opportunity to make sure that we're properly rated. Okay? I know you hear me say that a lot. Don't tune out thinking that it doesn't apply to you unless you're, 100% permanent and total, you're super solid, everything's great. And even then, hang on, because you can share this information with somebody else. Now, even if you are 100% permanent and total, there could be clothing allowance stuff, there could be special monthly compensation, there could be all of these other things as well. Now, let's dive into this real quick. The first thing I'm going to throw out there, and this is on the thumbnail, I put, essentially an extra kind of piece for people that are watching this now today, right now, in this moment, live streaming from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's our timestamp, 1 hour, or if you're on the West Coast, right, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. If you email us right now for a free consultation, that's it. Email us right now within this hour period at strategy@vetsiq.com. Okay, that's it right there. If you email us right now within the hour, we're going to knock $399 off, taking it to $1,000 even if you decide to move forward. It's kind of like putting in an intent to file, right? It's like putting in an intent to file, preserving it, and if you email us within this hour and you move forward, say by the end of the month, then it's only $1,000 to help you all the way through it. Again, the consultation's free, so you have nothing to lose, right? The information's free. Now, let's get back to the subject at hand here. We're in a golden opportunity as we've over the last few years have seen a decrease in benefits. Okay, and the two examples I'll give that we've seen over the last couple of years are essentially the elimination of insomnia as a secondary condition. That pretty much disappeared. You can only do direct service connection for insomnia and this kind of stuff. So we've seen that evaporate. We've seen GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, completely get just completely reconfigured, and honestly, it really strengthened up the criteria, if you will, really brought it into very narrow. It's good for some people that meet that very narrow qualifiers, but it really eliminated many individuals who suffered from, say, major heartburn, regurgitation, those types of things. And it really just focused in on esophageal stricture, and then also having where they can, drop that little balloon and expand your esophagus. So we've seen this happening. Now we have all of this other stuff going on. So right now is the time. What I'm going to talk about is what does it take to have it's always good to have a refresher. I'm telling you what it takes to have a successful claim and what your goals are. I'm going to tell you right now that many people on YouTube hyper focus on this is how you get service connected, right? That's one of three things. There's three goals as you're putting together your claim. There's really three goals that you want to accomplish through this process. And the three goals are really service connection. That's one. Two would be getting the appropriate rating. So now I'm trying to get service connected. Let me supply you with all of this information, VA. Two, and we're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna give you just kind of the 3 things, then we're gonna break down each one of these things. So 1 is getting service. 2 is proving to the VA the severity of your condition. Here's the problem with that. Many of us think, "I'm just gonna describe how bad it is in my own words." That doesn't really work too well. You need to make sure that you're explaining it properly so you can get the right rating, and we'll talk about that. The 3rd piece, and this is the part that most people on, well, anywhere, YouTube, any sort of, blog or anywhere else, um, even your county veteran service officers miss this piece. In fact, most of them miss that 2nd piece, which is getting properly rated. It's just, "Let's get you service connected for that condition." That's a win. Well, kinda, unless you gotta go back and get it increased, right? So the 3rd one is, if applicable, prove to the VA that your condition is static. Static, and that's really an important add-on, because here's the reality. Many of us get out of service and wait years before we file for that condition. Meanwhile, you've suffered from that condition for years, and you could probably prove to the VA that it's static. So why that's important is all kinds of things. We're gonna talk about all that as well. And I'm actually, for those that don't know, I am streaming this through, StreamYard, and I actually don't see the comments here. So what I'm probably gonna, there they are. Yeah. I just wanted to say it so that way as I'm looking around, people know. Alright. So, again, whew, let's dive into it. Number 1, number 1, the most important thing, because you can't hinge anything on until you get service connection, okay? What does it take? I see a comment there from a Jason, regarding, Stan. No, I'm inside, Stan's outside. Um, it happens, and if he shows up, there's a big problem, because he better not be in the house. My wife actually sometimes gets him to come up to the door. All of them, the chickens, close to the door. I'm like, "Nope, I'm in the house." Alright, so number 1, getting a service connected, right? So, what does that look like? What do you need to prove? So, number 1, you need to prove your time in service. Why is this important? Well, 1, you have to prove to the VA that you're actually eligible for VA disability compensation. Okay, so your DD-214 shows your character of discharge. Awesome, there you go. 2, ideally, you have some active duty time. It's much easier. I'm sorry for all you reservists. It's very limiting when all you have in a day and your couple weeks a year, school. It really makes it to where you have a much smaller, slice of the pie, um, than your active duty counterpart. So for active duty folks, right, on your DD-214, for example, it's gonna give you your entry date and your exit date. These are important dates because it window of opportunity. And sorry if the audio is breaking up. I see that that's in there. That's I'm trying to actually fix my internet, by the way. So I apologize for any sort. I see somebody saying, "Hear me." So I'm gonna keep monitoring these chats to see if it, yeah, choppy, all kinds of things. Jeez. Welcome to my life. So I'm gonna keep pushing on, and we'll see what happens, with the here. Um, if it doesn't, if it gets any better, I hope it does. Um, if it doesn't get better, then I'll have to do this again on another day, when I can actually run a hard wire through. So in the event that you're looking to get your service connection, right? Your I'm trying to read comments too. I can't do 2 things at once. So you need to make sure that you have your entry date, exit date. That creates that window of, man, audio bad, pretty bad, saying. Bear with me 1 minute for those of you that are on there. I'm gonna see what I can do to try to, uh, to All right, so let's try this. Can you hear me now? I'm reading your comments, so I'm trying to see. Hopefully you can hear me now. Yes. All right. I hope it's better. It is what it is. Audio still sucks. Great. 5 times 5, well, that's 10. 20, 5 times 5 is not 10. Okay, cool. Anyway, we're gonna move forward now. All right, so what I'm talking about, for those of you who may have just joined and watched me fumble through all this, thank you. It is what it is, right? Lean forward. So here we are. Number one, I'm gonna just do a quick refresh here. Number one, lots of bad news happening, trying to get ahead of that wave. Things are definitely gonna get more difficult as we move forward. If you need any assistance at all, we're offering a discount of $399 off of our normal price, bringing it to $1,000. So 390, nearly, I mean, practically 400 bucks, right? Of our original price. So reach out to us. If you email us in this live stream right now, email us now. Clay's on the other end. For those that know Clay, he's on the other end monitoring the emails and he'll respond to those. Strategy at vetsiq.com. Take advantage of that. Tell them now lots of crazy things. Now, what we're going to talk about is what does it look like to have a proper claim? There's three goals. Three goals again are service connect rating and want to, if applicable, prove that your condition is static. Okay, so now let's talk about the proper way to really think about establishing your service connection. That person service connected. There's basically three things. You need to prove your time in service and character of discharge. Your DD-214 does that for you. And what we're looking at here is essentially your character of discharge and your time frame, entry date, exit date. What that does for you is it creates that window of opportunity that I talk about for direct service connection. So now you've created that window, and now what you need to do is you need to get that diagnosis. You need to have a diagnosis. I have seen way too many times as a former accredited veteran service officer, where veterans come in and they're like, I don't know why I got denied, and we're throwing in conditions that we're self-diagnosing with no medical evidence at all regarding that condition. VAs deny that. So you need to make sure you go get a diagnosis. Now, here's the key. The condition must be chronic in nature or have some sort of residual impact, some kind of ongoing problem. So have that in the back of your mind. The third piece that you need is the nexus. Now, you hear this word a lot. Usually, you hear it associated with letter, Nexus letter. Now, do you always need a Nexus letter? No. What does Nexus mean? Nexus is essentially saying, prove to the VA that your condition that's diagnosed as chronic in nature or has residual impacts is related to your service in some way. Now, here's the funny thing. There's three ways that the VA can view that as a good thing for you. One, your military service actually caused it. Two, manifested during your service. Or three, that it was made worse by your time in service. So there's three great avenues to prove the nexus. Now, the easiest way is if you had a diagnosis during your time in service. But let's be honest, right? Most of us, unless it's an actual injury or something so severe that we just couldn't rub dirt on it anymore, and we couldn't take Motrin anymore, and we couldn't change our socks enough, finally you go, right? So a lot of conditions that are service connectable, well, they're not diagnosed during service. So that's where you would lean on that Nexus letter um, aspect. So when you're thinking about that, you can go to your doctor, right? So the first two things are fairly easy, right? On proving your service connection. It is one, going to your doctor, right? Getting diagnosed and having all the paperwork there, and that's great. And two, giving them your DD-214 is pretty easy, and that creates a window, right? So the next is though Unless you were diagnosed in service, which I highly suggest every single person, if you do not have your service treatment records, order them. The form is SF180, SF180. You can order your records if you don't have them. Have them, you have to look through them for a while, go through them. Because you never know, you might have talked about some signs and symptoms of a condition that you now have, and you can lean back on that as part of the rationale and all of that stuff when it comes to your nexus. So with your doctor, you can have your doctor complete the Nexus letter for you, establishing that that condition is, again, a result of your time in service in some way or fashion, right? So the service made it worse, or it just manifested. Migraines just showed up. I don't know. I just started getting migraines during my time in service. Um, you can have them do that. Now, sometimes, right, your doctor, and they won't, right? Especially if it's a VA doctor. Um, your regular kind of private doctor, they'll probably do it for you. If for some reason your doctor can't, won't, or doesn't do that type of evidence that you're looking for, you can always utilize other organizations out there. You know, AME is one that I have recommended in the past, and I still recommend them. I've had multiple conversations with them, and they provide good, solid work. AME, American Medical Experts. I'll put it's in all of my videos pretty much in the description and comments, so you can find it. Now, as we think about all of this, let's think about the evidence that you provide and not shortchanging yourself really. Sometimes what we do, and this is why we always talk about being properly rated. Sometimes we shortchange ourselves. We hyper focus on the things that maybe bother us the most, and we think, "Well, I'm just gonna file for these, they should be big ratings because they're super bothersome," right? Sometimes that's not necessarily the case. It's not gonna be the highest rating, that you could get of your conditions, right? For a great example, let's just use your back issue for an example, just the back itself. Could be, got a bad back, maybe you get rated 10 or 20%. Meanwhile, it really bothers you. You know, you don't think that your migraine would warrant uh, a decent rating, so you forego it. Bad advice, don't forego it. Your migraines could pay out up to 50% on the rating schedule, so you don't wanna leave that type of stuff out. Uh, we'll talk about some more in the idea of direct service connections and in a minute. Right now, I wanna kinda move over to getting properly rated. This part is the part that most people don't think about. This is the part that people on YouTube and all of the bloggers and stuff out there, this is kind of that second piece that a lot of people leave out. So we talk about getting service connected for this, this, this. This is how much it could be rated for, but we don't really explain exactly what needs to be focused on in order to get properly rated. Now, not everybody, for example, is gonna be rated 50% for migraines. I mean, it's just that's the nature of the beast. Not everybody's at the same level. But I will tell you, there are many people that are rated lower than what they should be rated for migraines specifically, because they don't know what the VA is actually looking for. It's not a big secret. It's not hidden. It is right there for us. And this is the rating schedule. And so the VA's rating schedule really spells it all out. Now, some conditions, albeit, are very medical jargoned out, and it's hard to understand what they're actually saying. So I get it. You'll have to Google search or have a really good doctor that you sit with and have a conversation to figure out where you're supposed to be rated. But something like migraines is a pretty easy one to read and understand what study equals what percent. Okay? meet this criteria, I'm 10%. If I meet this criteria, then I'm 30. If I meet this, then I'm 50. So if you meet a criteria, the highest criteria you meet is, that's the information that the VA is looking for. And I will tell you that one of the things that I've heard a lot in my time, and for those that don't know, I'm former accredited veteran service officer, been in the veterans benefits world for more than a decade, probably like 13 years or something before I got into even doing YouTube. So one of the things that I heard a lot in my own circles in the veteran sphere was, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to a CMP. Okay, hey, look, here's my advice, not mine, over here. Let them know how much it affects your life. Tell them that your quality of life is horrible. You know, really let them know how bad it affects your quality of life." And really that was kind of the overarching message that I would hear people tell each other. Well, nowhere in the rating schedule for migraines does it say anything about quality of life. So you could say it's really affecting my quality of life, really affecting my quality of life. If you don't explain why or how as it relates to the rating schedule, which is the only thing that the VA is looking at to judge where you should be rated, it won't matter. So you need to know what they're looking for so that way you can supply them the truth, but in their words, right? So they understand it. If you don't know what you need to explain, well, then you're gonna maybe be explaining the wrong thing and hyper focusing on the wrong. And that's just one example, right? The migraine stuff. This is every single condition is listed in the rating schedules. There's many of them, I think 15 different body systems, okay? Such as the neurological system, which is where migraines fall under, or the digestive system, which is where GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, would be under. Which brings me to, oh, by the way, these rating schedules are changing, and that's why it's so important that we do something now, today, on our conditions. Again, if you're not already 100% permanent and total, um, then I highly suggest reaching out to us to at least do a free review, have a second set of eyes on it. We have a retired rater on the team who will look and go, you know what, I see some things here that could potentially be boosted, and oh, some secondaries could potentially be here as well. Here's what you need to do in order to really hone those in and how you can get that filed appropriately. So the rating schedule changes that are changing, right? They will change from the VA at a Senate hearing from the VA's mouth. They said that they should be fully updated by the end of the year. That's September of the fiscal year. So that's September of this year, 2026. So the end of September, they should all be done. Now there's 4 left. The remaining 4 that they're changing, they've already changed 11 of them. Digestive system was the last one. 4 4 that are remaining are neurological, okay? Neurological, auditory, respiratory, and mental health, okay? Those 4 are changing. If they're changing for the worse, you better file now. And even if they're changing for the better and you're not rated for a condition that's on one of those rating schedules or whatever, then you should be filing for that now. Why would you wait? You shouldn't wait. Because even if you filed for something today that gets better, like COPD, you know, is gonna open up to 100%. In my opinion, if worked properly, mental health is gonna open up and be a higher rating. If there's positives that happen, if you're not currently rated for it, get currently rated for it, and then just file for an increase after the new one's in effect. Don't leave money on the table. Now is not the time for that. So let's think about it. You have all of these changes happening. Right now, we are in March. It's 6 months away, um, from very big changes, including, and I think that this is a big one, um, the change to sleep apnea. Now, why is that important? Because not only is sleep apnea a direct service connection for some people, but it's also a secondary condition, okay? A secondary condition to, let's say, PTSD. So if you have PTSD and you feel like you're never getting in enough sleep, well, go get a sleep study because you may have sleep apnea. If you have sleep apnea and you have the CPAP that's prescribed to you, well, guess what? That's a 50% rating today, but after the rating schedule change, it's not. It's going to be you're lucky if you get 10. Basically, they're saying that if the CPAP works appropriately, well, then you're so take advantage of the information that we have today and really lean forward and spend the time on your claim or on your current VA disability compensation. Right? There's all walks of life out there. I get it. Some of you maybe never even filed a claim yet. Maybe some of you are the spouse of the veteran who hasn't filed a claim. Maybe you filed a claim, maybe you've gotten granted and it's years ago and you have 70%, and you're like, you know what, this is pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with 70. It's not about, I mean, I guess it is, but I think it's also about being properly rated. And here's the reality. 100% is not this crazy thing to achieve. It sounds like it. It sounds crazy. And chicken butt. I just saw the heck yeah. Sometimes, I guess, I don't know. So, the comment. Now, here we are, and we're looking at this, and we're thinking, "Okay, 100%, well, it feels like that's the max, right? It feels like that's reserved for the worst cases." For probably all of you watching this, you get it. It is not. It's not even really kind of the halfway point. It's a little bit less than the halfway point because you have the 0 through 100% rating schedule. You have the SMC schedule, which is the special monthly compensation schedule. And then you kind of have this hybrid in between where you're on the 0 to 100, but you also get a little bit of SMC. But then eventually you actually slide off the over into SMC only. So 100% is deceiving by the name. So don't ever feel like you're chasing something that seems unattainable because it's really not. The only reason it becomes, in my opinion, unattainable is because, well, we've shortchanged ourselves in the sense of we didn't document stuff, and it's a really hard hill to climb to document it after the fact. And so you might not get everything service connected that you want to have service connected simply because you don't have the evidence. So that's really the only and main reason I think why. And also look at it this way: the older we get, the worse the conditions will get, which means that you're going to increase them along the way, and secondary conditions are going to arise from those conditions. So over time, it should be an escalator, right? Time should be an escalator. Now, let's talk about the last piece. A quick recap here, right? The quick recap, things are changing. Now's the time. Lots of crazy things going on at the VA. We have new rating schedules coming. If you can't find free accredited, free, go find. And free is a funny word, right? They're not doing it for free. They're paid. They're paid people that are helping you with your claim for free. But they're either receiving money from the government or from the accredited, the congressionally chartered veteran service organizations. I'm going to throw this out there. Again, I'm a former accredited veteran service officer, ran a team, all that stuff, right? We had a great office. My team was great. I knew other teams and other people that weren't so great. It is what it is. It's a people business. If you can find somebody great that's free, go for it. Smart move. Do that all day long. Keep $1,000 in your pocket. Find one, then email us. We're happy to do it. If you email us within the next, well, 30 minutes, then we will take $399 off of our original price, knocking it down to $1,000 for you. One last thing I'm going to say on that. Being accredited does not equal knowledge. Okay. I mean, you can't look. I'm not going. If you had $500,000 to invest, would you go find a brand new, finance advisor? financial advisor with whatever licensing they need, but they just got it yesterday? No, because they have no experience, they have no knowledge, right? They have very limited knowledge. You want people to help you. So let's move on here to the next piece of this pie on the recap. So the recap was you got to get three things as you're developing your claim to file it. Three goals that everybody should have. One, get service connected, right? For it or secondary connected. Two, make sure that you've got the proper rating, right? Don't just throw it to the wall and see if it sticks. Wrong attitude. And quite frankly, I hear a lot of accredited reps saying, well, we'll just put it together, we'll throw it against the wall and see what sticks type of attitude. And no, you should know fairly confidently what's going to happen. I'm 99% sure, unless the VA screws up, I'm going to get service connected for this. And I'm also very confident that I'm going to get this rating because I looked at the rating schedules as it relates to my condition. I know where I fall on the rating schedule. I documented that medically with my doctor, had all that put in. I went and I got a DBQ from my doctor, not fraudulent. A DBQ is not fraud. Disability benefits questionnaires are not fraudulent pieces of paper unless they're made fraudulently. So you can have your doctor go completely. All it does is it's a repository for information in a nice, clean, concise way for VA to understand exactly where you fall on the rating schedule. If it's filled out appropriately, if it's filled out not appropriately, meaning that let's just say your doctor doesn't understand what the VA is really looking for and they're just answering questions, it might not do you any good, honestly. So if you need professional help, reach out to AME, American Medical Experts. They're board certified doctors. They do their own thing. They're not doing fraud. I've talked to them thousands of times, not thousands of times. I've talked to them probably 5 times in the last 3 weeks, just checking in, making sure everything's solid and they're aware of what's going on. And they are totally confident and back up every single piece of paper that they do for better. So now let's talk about the next step, right? You've gotten service connected, you've got the proper rating. Third step is if you're static, you want to make sure you document that. And I will tell you, I don't think anybody talks about this really out there. I mean, I don't really watch that many, honestly, but being static with your condition is such an important thing to prove to the VA. So if you had and been being treated for a condition for X number of years, or if that condition is just a static type of condition just based on its nature, right? You want to make sure you have your physician, your doctor, actually document that severity and that it's static, okay? So you wanna make sure that they really state that it is not getting any better. I would personally recommend use the word static, know exactly where that and, make sure you file that with my claim. Because if your condition is deemed static by the VA, which think about it, the VA processing team, no matter who's doing it, right, whoever's in the adjudication line for the VA, none of them are medical doctors except for the CMP person who's providing their information. So they are looking at all of your evidence and they are deciding whether or not you're service connected. They're deciding whether or not you're, based on all the evidence received, including from the CMP exam. So they're looking at all that. And they're going, okay, I see that it's service connected. I see that it should be this rating, and I see that it's static. If they see that it's static, well, that does two really big things for you. One, if your condition is static, you do not have a future examination on a static condition. That's awesome. Nobody wants future examinations. It's stressful, it gives you anxiety, you get worried, right? So it lowers that stress. But the more important part is you need static conditions in order to be 100% permanent and total. In order to be permanent, the conditions must be permanent. Anything else is not considered permanent, right? So they must be static. Now, your claim, when you file your claim and you get the results, it's going to tell you if you have a future examination. If you have a future examination, it's not static, okay? But if you provided evidence that your condition is static and you have a future examination noted in your decision letter, what I would do, this is me, right? So I filed my claim, boom, I get everything back, and I got a future exam from this condition that I know I've had migraines for 10 years, and I provided evidence that they're static and ongoing and what have you. And maybe I had my doctor write a letter, hey, uh, veteran so and so has been suffering from migraines for this many years. They've been steady and actually, better than static. So I would know where that was at in my file, and then I would file for a higher level review in HLR, and I would check the box that says that I want to have an informal conference. Formal conference, I can explain, "Hey, look, I'm just curious. It said that I have a future exam for this condition, but the condition's static, so I don't know, if this is true or if you missed it. Can you shine a light on this?" Page 17, paragraph 3, whatever, line 2. Boom, there it is. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I see it, right," and we'll get that changed or whatever. So this is all very, important pieces that's, it's the labor stuff, right? That we don't want to have to deal with. You don't want to go through all of that, but invest a little bit of time through the process. It'll be way less stressful. You'll be prepared for a C&P exam because you understand your claim. You know what the condition, um, severity is as it relates to the, rating schedule. You'll be prepared in the event that they miss something, and you'll know the evidence that you supplied, and you'd be able to, uh, do a higher level review and have that conversation with them. Uh, all of that is just so empowering, right? I think that if I could go back in time and think about how I would see and communicate with people and how they felt through the process, they really felt as though they had no clue. And I think many of you felt that way too. Like, all I know is I'm filing for this condition. I don't know if it's gonna get service connected. I don't know if it's gonna get, uh, denied. I don't know if it's gonna be rated at 10% or 50%. I'm just lost in the wind. I don't know where it's gonna go. Um, yeah, I hear you, Paul. Who has a grand, right? So what he's referencing is that, look, if you can't find free help, right? Free is free, right? It's already paid for by your taxpayer dollars too. It's out there, right? Go find it, go use it. It's great. Hopefully you can find somebody who's super solid, knowledgeable, all that stuff. If you cannot and you have a grant, then we're happy to help. And we guarantee, look, here's the thing. If if there's not a win, if you do not get a win from us helping to guide you down the right path, if you don't get a new rated condition or you don't get an increase, if you don't have some sort of a win, we will refund the money. So, um, so there's that. There's literally no risk. You will get a win of some kind. Everybody's situation is different, so it's hard to pinpoint it, right? I can't say 100%. It's not going to get 100%. But you might move from a 30 to an 80. That's a huge thing. Or you might move from 90 to 100. That's a huge thing too. So here's the deal. If you email us in the next 10 minutes, then well, I guess is it 10, 20, 20, 20 minutes, guys, 20 minutes, then we knock $399 off of the original cost. So normally it's $1,599. We could do it for $1,000. Just trying to, help out where we can. We're already, I mean, look, by the time it costs money just to process the transactions, just so you know. And if you're not self-employed and have some sort of payment processing system, like $100 just disappears pretty much right away. So between the bank and processing center, and then if we do a refund, all of that stuff, money evaporates. You pay the staff, you pay taxes, you pay everything. There's not much left. So, all right. So here we go. There is a super chat that I want to acknowledge. Thank you so much. Uh, why do you have that as a name? It's so hard for me to say. And look, here's my problem. I can't read hardly anything anyway. So anytime I get something that's a little bit different, it really throws me off. So look, I don't know. June Julock, your picture's cool. You're a rock star. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. That super comment, super chat thing. So thank you for everything. You're very, very welcome, sir. Um, oh, nice. Hey, thanks. I started this um, a while ago. Um, I don't even know anymore. 3 years ago. Um, and you know what? I'm going to share the story. So again, I'll try to do a fast version. So I had been in the veterans benefits world for, like I said, almost 13 years probably by the time I did my first video on YouTube. Different roles and different capacities and that type of stuff. And one of them, I probably maybe if I go backwards in time, it was probably 3, 5, 8, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. I said, "Look, we keep saying the same things to everybody at the beginning. What we should do is we should do some YouTube videos on this and send those links to people, and then that'll kind of give them the head start, and then we can have these other conversations, right? Because we were very limited in staff." And I said, "You should do it." I would tell people because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be the face, and nobody took me up on it. And so then I let it go to bed. Then fast forward in time. Now, if I go backwards, that's probably 5, 6 years ago or so, 7 years ago. As an accredited veteran service officer at the time, I said, "Hey, look, keep saying the same thing. We should really do some YouTube videos on all this benefits stuff to get the word out and to inform people because there's so much missed opportunity. You should do it." And nobody took me up on it. So then I went, almost done. So then I went and I purchased like a ring light thing with a, the holder and a little fuzzy microphone. And I unboxed it in my office and I sat it in the corner and left it there for almost 2 years. And then finally I took it home and my wife was like, "Just go out there and do it." So I did it. And so at that point, um, about 3 years ago, I guess, is when I did the first one, and here we are today. And look, it's amazing. It's been an incredible ride. I really do appreciate all of the support. I mean, we can't really be here without all of you guys. I really do mean it. I really do believe in taking care of each other and sharing information and trying to break things down. I know it gets annoying sometimes when you hear the same thing, but we have a lot of new people always coming in, and it's kind of good refresher anyway. Everybody's at different knowledge levels, and it's trying to just level the playing field and make sure everybody knows. So anyway, that's all. So lots of thanks, brother. Got my 6 for the I don't even know. June J Lock 3774. You're a rock star. I do appreciate you. Carl A. Nice to see you, Carl. Um, Here's the thing. I guess the concern that most people have with filing another claim, not the first claim, just another claim, right? I'm already at 50%, whatever your number is, and I know I have these other things, but I'm kind of scared that the VA. My mindset is, look, nobody knows you better than you, and if your conditions are not any better, or if they've gradually gotten worse, um, I mean, for me personally, I would move forward, um, because I've seen too many times where people wait decades and they go, "Man, I wish I would have back here." The other thing is, and this is just me. This is just me thinking it out of my mind. Don't know if it's fully true or not, but it makes sense to me, and it's kind of what I've. The results are kind of what I will kind of line up with it, just kind of based on my years. And the sooner you file additional claims, the better, because the VA has fresh information on your other claims, on your other conditions, right? So, for example, if I file a claim for five conditions, and I got granted for all of them, everything's great. I'm happy. I'm at whatever percentage, and now a year and a half has gone by, and now I'm filing for new things. What are the chances that these conditions really got magically better in a year and a half, right? Still going to the doctor, all that type of stuff. Now, if I wait 15 years, right? Well, now the VA, wait a minute, where are these current ones? Especially if you don't go to the VA for your care. So, I don't know. It's a weird situation. I would say that no matter where you're at, the number one thing is continue to document, be seen, and get your care, have your medical documentation, right? Always be schedule your exams, all that stuff, go in, eh, make it a routine so you have that documentation. If you're not any better than when you got your claim awarded the first time, what's the worst case scenario, really? The VA is not just gonna randomly just magically reduce you. What they may do is if it's less than 5 years, they may do, like another on that condition just to check, right? Um, the look, once you get over the 5-year hump, it's harder to reduce you anyway. So you have that protection as well. It's not simply you were a little bit better once. They have to really prove that you better. Um, and here's the thing, the rating schedules are sure not getting better except for a couple small things. Again, I think that um, mental health is gonna line up and be better if you know how to structure your claim, all of your evidence. If you structure your evidence correctly, it's not just it's a very easy thing. So when it comes to poking the bear, my mindset and methodology is, again, one, know yourself, know where you're at. If you haven't gotten better, then who cares? What's the worst case? Maybe they put me in for an exam, show them that I'm still it's fine. Uh, why would I file another claim if there's something in it tangibly, right? There's something that's going to change. If I'm 100%, is it gonna give me the ability to be 100% permanent in total, right? Maybe I have a condition that's got a future exam, and it is what it is. Um, but I got a new condition that I could file for that would take me percent static so that I could be permanent. I would probably explore that. Would it give me a clothing allowance? Would it open up the door to S&P, right? Maybe this is now giving me erectile dysfunction. So maybe I would file for that. Maybe the condition, maybe I have diabetes and I lost a foot, right? Maybe now I need an automobile grant, right? So there's there's a bunch of different reasons. Everybody's situation is not the same, so it's always hard, right? So that's why I always say this is very nuanced, this world, and it's a very individual kind of thing. Um, let's see, I gotta lean in because my eyes suck so bad. The Wraith, WRAITH, the Wraith 0406. Thank you so much for that. Not sure if it's Wrath. Look, I can't even spell. So the Marine Corps took me though. Um, the Wrath 0406 or Wraith. Thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. So email what? So somebody said that. Thank you for the welcome. Sorry, I butchered. So again, email us in the next 10 minutes, get $399 off of any uh, service that we provide you, helping you. Um, Basically, we're taking $399 off of the $1,399, $1,000. If you email within this time frame, you have only during the live event. So this ends in 10 minutes. It's only for those that are on here now. Um, I'll say this, if you know somebody and you tell them that they should email us now, we wouldn't know if they were watching or not. I guess there's that. So, sorry if the sound's breaking up. We had some definite issues at the beginning, and I apologize for that. Um, let's let's talk about one more thing, and I think that this actually kind of I'm going to kind of wrap it together. Actually, two different things. One, it's so important to be properly rated, and if that takes you to 100% permanent and total, uh, that's fantastic, and I personally think that everybody can kinda slide up to that over time just because conditions get worse. The only real barrier to that is the lack of our own evidence, right? Conditions get worse, secondaries, all of that stuff. We're on a timeline right now with rating schedule changes that are going into effect. These are probably the biggest changes, coming at once, right? At one kind of swoop, it's now, and it's happening by September, or by the end of September 2026, according to the VA in its hearing. So being properly rated is so important. If it takes 100%, awesome. If you do what I talked about at the beginning, which is making sure that you're also static if it's applicable, well, now it's permanent and total. Make sure that all your stuff says that you're static if it is. Um, Now that opens up spouse benefits, right? So next, and dependent benefits, such as Chapter 35. Chapter 35 is an education benefit that opens up once you're permanent in total and you're able to have your dependent children, even if you have 12 of them, 12 dependent children or more, and your spouse utilize that benefit, and each one of them receive $1,574 per month while they go to school or some sort of institution that's approved by the VA. Now, this could be online school if it's approved by the VA, that's fine. My oldest did that, my spouse did that. Um, so as long as it's full time. Now, here's the catch. They just send you the money, the VA. They verify that you went to school full time that month. Great, boom, here's your check. It's up to you now to turn around and pay the institution, pay if you need to buy a computer, if you need to buy um, textbooks, whatever it is, that's out of your pocket, out of the 1574. And then what's remaining is yours to help supplement your life while you're going to school, spouse or the dependent. Very, very important. The other kind of piece here would be CHAMP VA. It's medical insurance. It acts as supplemental if you have other insurance in place. So if your employer is providing you insurance, uh, that's great. If they're providing it for your spouse and your children, great. This comes in and acts as a supplemental until you need to change it to be your primary. So let's say you quit your job, now you retire. Let's say you have no insurance for your family. You can utilize CHAMP VA as a primary insurance, same and for your prescription drug care, whether you're having mailed or you go to a pharmacy, whatever. So it's a great program, and it is a very, very good thing. Real quick, I see a question here talking about veterans with a dishonorable discharge. Now, look, here's the thing. Especially if you back up a few years, I mean, even now it's happening, but especially as you go back in time a little bit, um, there are quite a few people that end up getting discharged for, other than honorable situations. And some of those, guess what? They arose due to some sort of trauma, right? So it became a behavioral issue because of a trauma, whatever that may be, right? Maybe it was MST, maybe it was PTSD from a deployment and roadside bomb, whatever it is, right? All of a sudden, there's a shift, and now there's problems. Maybe there's self-treatment with alcohol, right? And now there's a downhill kind of slide, ultimately leading to um, may, maybe a tenant getting punched down. Who knows, right? So now all of a sudden you're getting kicked out. There's two options. One, the VA actually has a process where you can apply for a character of discharge upgrade for VA purposes only. So they don't actually change your discharge. That's still what it is. But for some or all of your um, benefits, it will be viewed differently depending on the circumstances. So that's one way, and that's typically the easiest and fastest way. The other way is actually to go through the DoD and to basically appeal that discharge and for it to be revised and go through that process. Um, if you go that route, I suggest contacting your congressional member and having them also involved to try to share the story and help them with that where they can. All right, so let's let's talk about the last thing here. We got 3 minutes for those of you that are interested in getting a free review, and ultimately, if you move forward, $399 discount. Email strategy@vetsiq.com. All right, so here we sit at this weird crossroads, right? So many things are happening, so many moving pieces, and I guarantee you there will be people that go, I wish I would have, um, whatever, 8 months from now. Don't be one of those people. Take the opportunity that we have now to really sit down, dust off your disability claim status. The VA funny math is a funny thing. You could potentially be, I'll say, not literally, but a sneeze away from the next rate. Okay? You could be a sneeze away from going from 50 to 60 or 70 to 80 or 90 to 100. How? Because if you are rated, your raw rating is at, let's say, 94%, you're a 90% rated veteran. All you need is one 10% rating or an increase somewhere to push you over the line to get to the 95, which would then be rounded to 100. So take advantage of our free review. Have a second set of eyes. We have a former retired, actually, VA rater on the team who we have actually helped, and Clay does a good job at posting these snippets on his channel, little communications about, hey, I just got notified, I got to 100%. Um, our team is solid. It's small, but intentionally, right? We're not just trying to fill seats here and trying to, and advertising all over the place. No, we're helping out our viewership, and with a small team, we do the best we can. If for some reason you don't get an email response, just email us again after several days and just say checking in. You know, sometimes things happen. We might miss something. So take advantage of just emailing us again and checking in. I mean, we're all brothers and sisters, and we're all trying to help each other out. So, all right. Well, hey, I appreciate everybody. Thanks for making it. I hope that I was able to at least shed a little light on things. Sorry, I can't. It's hard for me to go through all of the comments as I'm sitting here talking. There'd be too much quiet time. So I appreciate y'all. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.